Hey guys, it's Mike, and I am here to introduce our second book that we're going to be reading in our series. It's called Pirates Past Noon, and I am so excited to read this book and check it out. There is no prologue in this book, and so I'm just going to go ahead and start with chapter 1 of this book. Again, it's called Pirates Past Noon. This is the front cover of it, and so I'm really excited to find out what this book is about. Oh, this is the very first picture. Got a boy and a girl, two kids that are looking out the window at the rain. Don't know what they're thinking about, but I'm guessing we're going to find out here pretty soon. Chapter 1, Too Late. Jack stared out his bedroom window. The rain kept falling and falling. The TV said it would stop by noon, said Annie, his 7-year-old sister. It's already past noon, said Jack. But we have to go to the treehouse, said Annie. I have a feeling the M person will be there today. Jack pushed his glasses into place and took a deep breath. He wasn't sure he was ready to meet the M person yet. The mysterious person who had put all the books in the magic treehouse. Come on, said Annie. Jack sighed. Okay, he said. You get our raincoats and boots. I'll get the medallion and bookmark. Annie ran to get their rain gear. Jack reached into his drawer. He took out the medallion. It was gold. The letter M was engraved on it. Then he took out the bookmark. It was made of blue leather. It had the same M on it. Both M's matched the M that was on the floor of the treehouse. Jack put the medallion and bookmark into his backpack. Then he threw his notebook and pencil. Jack liked to take notes about important things. I got our rain stuff, called Annie. Jack picked up his pack and went downstairs. Annie was waiting by the back door. She was putting on her boots. Meet you outside, she said. Jack pulled on his raincoat and boots. Then he put out his backpack and joined her. The wind was blowing hard. Ready, set, go, shouted Annie. They kept their heads down and charged into the rainy wind. Soon they were in Frog Creek woods. Tree branches swayed, flinging rainwater everywhere. Yuck, said Annie. They splashed through puddles until they came to the tallest oak tree in the woods. They looked up. Tucked between two branches was the treehouse. It looked dark and lonely against the stormy sky. Hanging from the treehouse was a rope ladder. It was blowing in the wind. Jack thought of all of the books up there. He hoped they weren't getting wet. The M person's been there, said Annie. Jack caught his breath. How can you tell, he said. I can feel it, she whispered. She grabbed the rope ladder and started up. Jack followed. Inside the treehouse, it was chilly and damp, but the books were dry. They were all neatly stacked along the wall, just the way they had been the day before. Annie picked up a castle book on top of one stack. It had taken them to the time of castles. Remember the knight, she said. Jack nodded. He would never forget the knight who had helped them. Annie put down the castle book. She picked up the next book on the stack. It was the dinosaur book that had taken them to the time of the dinosaurs. Remember, she said. Jack nodded. He'll never forget the pteranodon who had saved them from the Tyrannosaurus Rex. Then Annie held up a book about ancient Egypt. Meow, she said. Jack smiled. The Egypt book had taken them to a time of pyramids. A black cat had come to the rescue there. And here's the book about home, Annie said. She held up the book with a picture of their hometown in it. Frog Creek, Pennsylvania. Jack smiled again. The Pennsylvania book had brought them back home at the end of each of their adventures. Jack sighed. Okay. He still had two main questions. Who was the M person who would put all the books there? And did the knight, the pteranodon, and the cat all know the M person? Finally, Jack reached into his backpack. He took out the gold medallion and the leather bookmark. He placed them on the floor, right over the spot where the M glowed faintly in the wood. Rain blew into the treehouse. Brr, said Annie. It's not very cozy today. Jack agreed with her. It was too wet and cold. Look, Annie pointed to an open book lying in the corner. I don't remember a book sitting there. Me neither, said Jack. Annie picked up the book. She stared at the picture on the page. Wow, this place looks great. She showed the picture to Jack. He saw a sunny beach, a big green parrot sitting in a palm tree, and a ship sailing on a blue sea. Another gust of rainy wind blew into the treehouse. Annie pointed to the picture. I wish we were there instead of here, she said. Yeah, said Jack, but where is there? Too late, came a squawk. Jack and Annie turned quickly. Sitting on a branch outside the window ledge of the treehouse was a green parrot, exactly like the parrot in the picture. Too late, the parrot squawked again. A talking parrot, said Annie. Is your name Polly? Can I call you Polly? Suddenly, the wind started to whistle. Oh no, now we're in big trouble, said Jack. The wind blew harder. The leaves shook. The treehouse started to spin faster and faster. Jack squeezed his eyes shut. Then everything was still. Before I turn the page, I'm going to show you the picture. That's the treehouse, and you can see the M in the middle of the floor. And then you can also see that they're looking at the book, and there's a parrot that they're talking to outside the window. Yeah, that's a great illustration. Okay, then everything was still. Absolutely still. Jack opened his eyes. Too late, squawked Polly. And that is the end of chapter 1. So, you're going to have to keep watching to find out what happens in chapter 2.
Okay, so I'm going to be reading chapter 2, The Bright Blue Sea. So here we go. Jack felt hot sunlight streaming into the treehouse. He smelled salt water. He heard the sound of waves. He and Annie looked out the window. The treehouse was in a palm tree. Beyond was a bright blue sea. A tall sailing ship was on the horizon. It was just like the picture in the book. Too late, squawked Polly. Look, said Annie. Polly was flying in circles above the treehouse. Then she swooped down to the ocean. Come on, let's follow her. Let's go in the water, said Annie. She took off her raincoat and dropped it on the floor. Wait, we have to study the book first, said Jack. He started to reach for the book, but Annie grabbed it. You can read it on the beach, she said. Without even looking at the cover, she shoved the book into Jack's backpack. He sighed. Actually, the water did look wonderful. Okay, Jack said. He took off his raincoat too. Come on, Annie handed Jack his backpack, then started down the ladder. Jack folded the raincoat and put it next to the stack of books. He put on his backpack. Then he went down the ladder. As soon as Annie hit the sand, she ran toward the ocean. Jack watched her wade into the water. She was still wearing her rain boots. Your boots, Annie, called Jack. She shrugged. They'll dry out, she said. Jack took off his boots and socks. He put them beside his pack. Then he rolled up his jeans and ran across the hot sand into the waves. The water was warm and clear. Jack could see shells and tiny fishes. He shielded his eyes against the sun and peered out at the sea. The tall sailing ship seemed a bit closer. Where's Polly? Said Annie. Jack glanced around. No sign of Polly, not in the palm trees, not on the sunlit sand, not over the bright blue sea. When Jack looked out at the sea again, the ship seemed even closer. Now Jack could see its flag. Oh, here's a picture, too. There we go. As he stared at the ship's flag, a chill went through him. The flag was black with a skull and crossbones. Oh man, he breathed. He started out of the water. "What's wrong?" said Annie. She splashed after him. Jack ran to his backpack. Annie followed. He grabbed the book from his backpack. He looked at the cover. For the first time, he and Annie read the title of the book. "Yikes," said Annie. "Pirates of the Caribbean," Jack read aloud. That was chapter 2.